This question came in late, so it's not up there, but it was in the for adult children that maybe don't want to listen or are going a different direction or kind of just doing their own thing. How, as parents of adult children, can we best help them and encourage them or bring them around to the ways that are right?
So I think like we have to backtrack to, have you poured into them all these years? Um, and for us, there have been a lot of times where our kids maybe have made decisions that wouldn't be our decisions, or that we think like, you're not looking at the whole picture. But at that point, when they become adults, we can pray for them. We've given them the tools that they need, but ultimately they are responsible before the Lord at that moment as adults. And I think I would caution what I would call Bible thumping them. Again, just nagging that this isn't, the way you've been raised, or this isn't what you've been taught. They know that it's in there. And you need to pray that God is at work in their hearts and that they can listen to what he's telling them.
Yeah, I think what I would add to that too is no matter what age they are, our goal is always to have a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
You lose the relationship, you lose influence and everything else. And so when they're young, it's easier to have a relationship, right? As they get older, become teens and start doing their own thing, or especially an adult, like the goal is still to have a relationship with them. So when they're adults and out of the house, like there may not be a lot of God type conversations. I think we can pray that God give me an opportunity to speak something into them. But even more important than that, I think it's relationship. So what can you do to restore or help build that relationship, especially if it's gone through a really rough patch and they don't want to listen to anything? Well, number one priority then is to have a relationship. So you do whatever you can to have that relationship. And then once God starts restoring that relationship, you look for opportunities where God lets you speak encouraging God things into their life. Or you just start showing what God's doing in your own life. It has nothing to do with them. But again, it's that they see Jesus in you. And eventually they're going to get thirsty for that and want that, because they're going to go through some hard things and it's going to be different for them. But you got to keep that relationship. And so do whatever you can to get that relationship. And that might mean just, God's time's not our time. It may not be every time you talk to him, you have to say anything about God. As she said, it's just build the relationship, and it might take 3-4 years, but you might get to a place where they'll come to you and ask a question, and then God just opens it up.
And I think you mentioned this a little bit in the first service, that, we think as parents, like we're trying to pour all these things into our kids when they're little and they go through that difficult middle school, high school stage, and you're just about ready to pull your hair out. And we're at the adult children stage now and are seeing some of the fruits of those conversations, or those times where we stood our ground or didn't add something, but they are understanding it and God's bringing it before them in his own way, in his time.
Yep. All right. Thank you.